Binghamton women's soccer entered a matchup with NJIT with a 2-2 America East record. Bing, the back-to-back conference champions in a spot they are not used to. The team looks to extend a win streak to 3 in Vestal. The Highlanders were hoping for its first win ever against the Bearcats women's soccer squad. Early on, the conference rival had a chance, but goalkeeper Caitlin Williams says, no, not today, pulling her inner that can make Mutombo. On a Binghamton corner kick, it's Mackenzie Davis flying in with the header to get a goal. They would find themselves up 1 after 45 minutes of play. At the 56th minute marker, the Highlanders, they would find the back of the net to tie this one up. The Bearcats had 17 shots but struggled to find any offense. This game resulted in a 1-1 draw. Bing head coach Neil Badakarji spoke about the frustration of not finishing on top.
It's something where, over the course of 90 minutes, thought we did enough to perhaps get the full 3 points. Just didn't work out that way, which is frustrating. But that's the game sometimes, and that just means that we got to rest, recover, and get ready for the next one, which is coming up here quick on Sunday afternoon.